Continuing to preview the state championships for golf this weekend around the state, we head to Class 4A. I'm joined by Sheridan head coach Joe Quinn. And Joe, thanks so much for taking some time to visit with me about this. I guess, first of all, just give me your thoughts. What do you think 4A might be like this weekend, just in general, girls and boys?
Yeah, I think the boys are definitely, there's going to be a lot of competition. I know on the east side of the state, we have a pretty full field, at least for the top 10, that battle. I know, and the west side has a few that they're going to bring too. I'm not sure on most of those west teams, but like the Caspers we've seen before. And I think it's just going to be kind of a dogfight out there for the boys. There's a whole lot of teams that are up in the ranks. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. I think that's going to be good competition. And then the girls side, obviously, we got a few good teams that are going to come out, and it's always interesting to see, because you might not have a certain good team, but they could have one or two girls on there that can shoot low. So that's kind of where we're at, and should be a good weekend. The course is looking good, that's for sure.
Let's talk about that course. How do you think it sets up, and what do you think they'll do in terms of just trying to get this course to be challenging but fair for high school golfers?
Yeah, we kind of talked about pin locations and how fast we want the greens. And then a few of the holes, like we just drove through the course and thought, okay, how could we make this, fair but competitive for these pin locations? So like some of the holes, we moved the kids back a little bit because some of the holes were playing short. And so that'll play a factor into it. And then just green speeds, like we talked about, talking about, how can we make it still a competitive 4A competition, but not have the ball roll off the green if it's a little windy out there. So I think it's going to be good. But
and weather could be a factor this weekend, I think, for state golfers to kind of consider. So I know the Powderhorn is known, around the region, maybe across the country. What should golfers be aware of in terms of, depending upon the 18 that you put together? Because I know there's some combinations at the Powderhorn. What do you think, they've got to be aware of in terms of hills and water and things like that?
Yeah, I think one thing that really stands out for me is just how tight of a course Stag is. So they're going to be playing Stag and Eagle. And so Stag is definitely kind of a target course where you have to find the fairway and then find a little certain area to land. Whereas Eagle kind of opens up and you're allowed to, bring out the driver on some holes and kind of attack some of those par fives. So that would be probably my main thing is the difference between one side, what can come out of the bag, and the other side, what needs to stay in the bag, is probably my recommendation.
Well, it's always challenging, more so maybe in between the ears than it is actually playing the course. It's overcoming yourself in the game of golf.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. For 4A, how do you think things transpire this weekend? Give me kind of your best forecast and factor in the weather a little bit, I guess.
Yeah. Depending on the day, it looks like Thursday is kind of our hairy day that we might have a little bit of rain move in. Hoping it stays that way, so that way Friday and Saturday can stay sunny. Being in Sheridan, wind's not as much of a factor unless there is a storm and stuff that comes in. So if weather isn't a factor, I think we could see some low scores and see some kids perform really well. But I think, as long as, like you said, that mental game is there, we could see some good scores this weekend and some really good competitive golf. So,
Joe, that's all I needed from you. Thank you so much for taking time and previewing 4A state championship golf with me.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you.